Tokai guitars have been around since 1947. These Japanese-made instruments are still extremely popular both in Japan and overseas. This guitar is a 2024 model. It's an LS176CM in Sherwood Green. I'm going to be using this as a reference point. We're going to be talking about the current models that are available in single cut form, talking about some of the differences between them, an overview of some of the specifications that they do share with one another, as well as what you can expect to pay for one or where you might be able to purchase one. Since these guitars are not available new in the United States of America, one of the most common questions that I see, and one that I had myself before I got this one, was about the neck carve. Let me tell you something about this neck. It's kind of broad how they describe it. They call it an asymmetrical U. In my hands, though, it reminds me of one guitar that I used to have. That's my Gibson Custom Shop R9. At the first fret, it's 0.91. At the 12th fret, it's 0.99. Now, that might seem like it's a huge neck, but because of the shoulder, this feels so simple to play, and again, it really does remind me of that Gibson Custom Shop model. However, comparing it to the Gibson ES335 I had that had a rounded C, this feels significantly smaller, which is a little bit strange because the depths are really similar at the 1st and the 12th fret, but again, it goes down to the actual shoulder and the asymmetrical carve, proving once again that it doesn't matter necessarily what the spec sheets say, it's all about how things feel to you in your hands. The pickups in these guitars are also fantastic in my opinion. They're the vintage PAF MK2s. And Tokai have so much faith in these that it doesn't matter which model you end up getting, LS101, LS201, LC201, and we'll get into those in a little bit. They all come with the same set of pickups. I want to start by talking about a major change that Tokai made in August of 2024. That's a first for the company, and honestly, compared to a lot of other brands in Japan that still use the older system, and that is having the numbers designate the amount of yen that the guitar cost. This guitar was an LS176. This was pre-change. You could tell that this was 176,000 yen because of the name. Now they've switched to LS101, LS201, and LC201. Prices don't reflect that though. The LS101 is 176,000 yen. The LS201 costs 229,000 yen. The LC201, which is based off of a Les Paul Custom, is 294,000 yen. And then at the very top, the LS301 comes in at 544,000 yen. Before I talk about some of the differences between these guitars, it's important to establish things that they all have in common. They all come with bow nuts. They all have the 18-degree angled headstock on them. They all have the same neck carve on them. They all have the same pickups, the PAF MK2s. Now on to some of the differences. I'm going to focus my attention on the LS101 versus the LS201, as those are the two most commonly manufactured models. The LS101 is going to have a two-piece mahogany body with a two-piece maple cap on it. The LS201 is just going to have a one-piece mahogany body and then the two pieces of maple on top if it does have a flame finish on it. The LS101 is going to have a polyurethane finish on it. The LS201 is going to have a nitrocellulose top coat finish on it. Both the LS101 and the LS201 have switchcraft components and sprayed capacitors to them. However, there is one major difference in the rest of the electrical components, and that has to do with the actual potentiometers used. On the LS101s, you're getting Korean potentiometers. On the LS201s, you're getting CTS. Now for a few more things they have in common. They both have Goto bridges, LSVB, LSVT for the tailpiece. They both have a one-piece mahogany neck. They both have Goto SD90 tuners on them and Sanko frets. The LC201s have double-bound one-piece mahogany bodies with a two-piece maple top on it, ebony fretboards on those with mother-of-pearl inlays, and you also have the different inlay at the top of the headstock. Last but most certainly not least, the LS301, the highest tier of production model that you can get from Tokai. They don't make a whole ton of these. When I'm filming this right now, there is one for sale throughout all of Digimart. So a little bit hard to come by, but it's because they really put in the hands-on work to make these the best possible instruments they can. They have one-piece Honduran mahogany bodies with two-piece figured maple tops on them. They have Madagascar rosewood. They're the only ones out of all of them that come with a hard shell case, and obviously these are going to all have full nitrocellulose finishes as well. None of the guitars in the vintage line have weight relief. Now to me, this was something that held me back from wanting to try a modern Tokai for a while, because surprisingly, if you look back to the golden age, the late 70s, early 80s for Tokai, some of those are extremely expensive. It wasn't all that difficult to find one in the 8-pound range fairly easily. Nowadays, they start at about 9 pounds. And to me, I didn't like that on paper, but thankfully, the person that sold me this guitar was a good friend of mine. They picked it out and they said, look, this guitar is not going to feel that heavy to you. Trust me. And I bet they were a little bit nervous as this guitar transited from Kyoto to here. But when I opened it up and I sat with it, I thought, wow, this doesn't feel heavy at all. It all has to do with the balance of the instrument. This weighs 9 pounds 4 ounces. But I've played Gibsons that were lighter than this that felt heavier than this, and it felt like it was digging into my leg a little bit. I could sit with this thing for hours and play it, because I do sit with this thing for hours and play it. Standing up, not that big of an issue either. You just get a decent strap and you're good to go. So I know that there's a lot of people that say, I don't really want to play anything too heavy, and I understand that to an extent, but trust me, these guitars are so damn good and they're so well balanced, I really don't think it would be that big of a deal unless you have legitimate back issues. So if you're in the United States and thinking this sounds great, where can I buy one? The best piece of advice I would give you was to go to one website and one website only after you've established which model you want, whether it is the LS101, the LS201, or the LC201. Digimart.net. Type in that model number and look away. You're going to see lots of different shops. They're going to have all sorts of different specs, including the weight in most cases listed for you. You'll be able to see the exact guitars, contact the shops, and go from there. There's not one single shop I'm going to recommend, because there are a lot of fantastic stores and outlets that are available to you, and all you have to do is put in just a little bit of effort. But trust me, it's safe. You're going to be using PayPal 99% of the time, and it's a quick, painless trip from Japan and over here, because they actually take a lot of pride in how they package things. And as a general rule of thumb, if you don't really know these guitars inside and out, don't buy one from an American seller unless they have all of the paperwork, because there is a little sheet that will come with these guitars that will say the model number on it if it's made in Japan to verify it. If they don't have that, I don't know. I'm a little bit sketchy towards those. I've seen ones that blatantly say made in China on the back, labeled as Japanese, from very reputable shops otherwise, and it's unfortunate because the quality difference between the Chinese ones and the Japanese made ones is pretty much night and day. And this is a very little surprise to me because I'm a huge fan of Japanese guitars in general, but they really expose how badly we're getting ripped off in some cases by manufacturers that sell guitars at a similar price point here in the United States of America, because believe me, it is not close. The quality of these is unbelievably good, and the value on top of it, man, it's really hard to beat. If you ever get the chance to try one of these in person, definitely don't pass on that. You might find yourself walking home with a new guitar that you didn't need, or one that you just fell in love with and you couldn't resist. That's it for today, though. Thank you for watching today's video. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. If there's anything you would like to see going forward, let me know in the comment section down below. Or if you have a Tokai, let me know if it's a vintage old one or a new one. Always interested to hear your guys' perspective. Take care, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.